Hey, what's going on, peoples? Hope I'm doing this right. Let's see here. Okay, seems like everything is a go so far. Yeah, excuse me. I'm just here, trying to make sure everything. I kind of like didn't really plan as much as I wanted to for this. You see, I got my television screen streaming from my phone right now, and I wanted to like set up a presentation as best as I can or could. Um, been just was Today is Sunday, I believe. It's the today is today should be. Oops, sorry. 1 second. Bear with me, please. Just wanted to inform people out there. Okay, today is the 5th. I do tend to forget. I mean, time is just going by. Oh man, the screen is gonna be clunking out. I can see. Hopefully, as best as I can, I'll keep the screen on, and you guys will be able to see some of this quick presentation I put together. And like I was saying before, the reason why I've been putting these, or at least trying to put a good presentation together, because I feel that I'm compelled to bring out as much information as I can. Being that we're in the last days, and for anyone I guess who's still not I guess clear to that as being a reality, really is not looking too good. It's not looking too good for you. Like, if you still, at this time and this, place where we are at in the world, and you can't see that we're at the last days, I really feel bad for you. And and at the same time, you know what? I'll go as far as to say, the Bible does speak and say that the first will be last and the last will be the first. And it does make a lot of sense when it says that, because I think at this juncture where we were at, in this world, and during this time, you know, um, it's very, very important that you take close attention to what I'm bringing forth, because I really feel that is compelling evidence as far as one of the main topics that has been pretty much all through social media, and even all through places, YouTube, and things like that. And just for people who talk, I'm quite sure anybody who still goes to the barbershop have heard how people feel about Nipsey Hussle and his you know um death and things like that, right? So the reason why I'm feeling like compelled to bring this information out is because one thing I do see is this is a very, very serious time that we're living in. And again, I don't want to ramble. I'm trying my best to get to the point as best as I can. Please bear with me. I do have some very, very important information that I'm going to bring forth. But why I'm saying that is because the reason why it's so important is because I notice how so many people are like really you know gravitating to the fact that he died. And he's a young guy, as far as gave a lot to the culture, you know what I mean, and of hip hop and things like that. And it's pretty much no different from any of the other, celebrities who supposedly have died, in different ways. You know what I mean? Now, I can't say for every celebrity who's died, whether or not it's the truth or whether it's false. I'm quite sure there's a lot of information for anybody who's really, really open to looking up this information, who can find it. The only thing that I feel that is one of the main things that people are missing about this whole thing with Nipsey Hussle and things is because the fact of, and maybe they have heard it. I'm quite sure it's been out, in people who's been searching for the truth. And this is my main reasons for posting these things, is really to get to people who's looking and their hardest and know that there's something wrong, and want to understand, what's taking place. This is the reason why I'm putting it out as well. But again, if anybody who's looking for the truth, can see that Nipsey Hussle, the whole thing that went down as far as, him being killed or shot or what have you. Now, I mean, it's funny because I don't know if they mentioned what he'd been shot with, but, if you've seen a lot of the videos, a lot of people are saying the same thing, who's looking for the truth and asking these questions. Where are the bullet casings? Where is the, the blood at the scene? Where is, the pain? Where is that? It's very absent. Now, I've, seen a lot of people who held it together after funerals, of their loved ones being, probably passing away through, cancer, different sicknesses where they had time to prepare themselves, mentally and, however, what I'm saying? Because anything, financial, when people die untimely, sometimes financial issues occur as well. So, that can bring a lot of pain to some people. And, I mean, just as much as, you're sorry to see this person go, it's just that you didn't get a chance to fix things, and put things in order just in case. And these things happen so much in, our communities. But not going off the topic, but one of the things that I noticed is just that the lack of pain, being that we have, very little of any real hardcore evidence, that we can build a case off of. We just pretty much took everything, or, have been taking everything at face value. And this is no different from, your Biggie and your Tupac cases where, they throw out just a little information and seems like everybody goes with the flow. And to me, it's like for people who's really woke and really can see things, we are catching on to these things. And we're like, wait a minute. It seems like they're actually throwing the jab at anybody who can see, just to show us that, it's almost like something out of a comic book almost. It's funny because, I've always been into comics, but, lately, coming into this time where we are seeing so many like Marvel comics and things like that, I've been really, really open to listening to, some of the brothers even, through, as far as the camps, Israelite camps that are out, who bring forth this knowledge. And, as far as, we having, Father giving us power and raising us up. And, this is going to all make sense eventually. I'm going to get into the reason why, I brought up Nipsey Hussle even, and it's not, anything as far as trying to get any, people to view my video, but it's really just to give some real, understanding to this. And the reason why I said, the superheroes being so, important as well, because, when you look at some of these superheroes, one thing I've noticed is that most of the time, the ones who are the villain usually is the one that is looked at as the good person. And if you're a person who's wise, you can really look through and see, like when you look at the Avengers, these people who are trying to save the earth from being destroyed are somehow, looked at as saving the day. But when you really look at what they're saving, you should question, well, wait a minute, you're saving the day, but, at the end of the day, the world is still it's still a bad place to live. This earth is still a bad place to live. Even if you were to say, well, you know what, I'm going to save the earth from being destroyed. But you got to look at the people. You see what I'm saying? The people are a cancer to this earth. And this is the reason why, the earth is being destroyed. Not because, it's like, okay, well, we want to stop, this villain from destroying the earth, right? But at the same time, we have to save the people because he's killing the people. You know what I mean? So when you look at the people and you think about it, wait a minute, these are a lot of people who are probably bad for the earth as it is. They're not returning anything to the earth. They're actually taking away, all of the things that are righteous and good for the earth, right? So, okay, be it as it may, people probably, are more privy to believing that it's okay to save everybody. But my whole thing is that's one of the points that Nipsey Hussle, seemed like he did not ever bring to the forefront. And the fact of the matter is that, okay, I get it. You want to hustle. You want to make it from the bottom so you could get to the top. This has always been the case for our people. We've always tried our best to do these things, but it's always been something that has been holding us back. So to me, to give that and build that case is an illusion. You see what I'm saying? And, I'm looking at this the screen right now as I'm talking, and it says only a queen can calm a king. And it's, you see this female here, and she's saying, she's hushing this huge, ferocious looking lion. You know what I mean? By just telling him to be quiet. And, doesn't that make so much sense though? Because this is another one of those problems that we have with our people, and that we given all our power, as far as being men, we given all our power to the woman. And this is usually what she deems as, her fixing things, is by telling a ferocious lion, that's ready to attack and really save her. But she's so in fear of what is going to happen, mainly to her, her life, her peace, that she will, do whatever it takes to keep him calm. When, the Father is giving him that spirit to be a ferocious lion, and to not care about what he says anymore. Because we see that, no matter what we do in this world and in this city, this wicked city, called America, we always met with, them shooting, 50 times, like they're shooting at basically like a zombie. You know what I mean? Because it seems like, for anyone who shoots 50 times, that's like you're trying to not only kill this, someone's body, but their spirit, their soul, everything. You know what I mean? Like that's like when you're in a horror flick. When you shoot somebody that many times, you don't want to see them, move at all. And to me, that's being terrified. You know, if you're going to kill somebody and shoot them that many times, that means that you're terrified, not just trying to protect yourself, but you're terrified. And you know, it's funny because, you know, these so-called white men who do these things, you know, and shoot us so many times, um, they will try to convince us, you know, they did it to save their life. But, you know, these same men will go and, you know, on Mount Everest, you know, and climb, you know, the highest, you know, for the summer, you know, go to the highest mountain and build, you know, a campfire. You know what I mean? So it's in them to do whatever it takes to prove, you know, that how much their life is worth. But when it comes to, you know, when it comes to this world, they'll do whatever it takes to show how much their life is worth. Where they'll go, you know, to the depths of the sea and to the highest peak of a mountain just to prove where they stand in this world. But when it comes to us, you know, they are so afraid of their life, terrified more so or less, that they would shoot us for, 50 and 60 times, which is ridiculous. Now, you know, that is still on the subject. Why? Because I feel like when you see these men who get shot and killed, there's, you know, if not, you know, pools of blood and brains and guts, you know, all around that area. And, you know, this is a crime scene for almost, you know, probably pretty much the entire day or two. You know what I'm saying? And maybe even longer, depending on, you know, the severity of it. With Nipsey Hussle, you know, there was no crime scene whatsoever. I mean, it seemed like within that daytime and the day after and, you know, following, it's been pretty much a hot spot for everyone to come down and shop. You know what I mean? And shop and buy, you know, and take pictures and get social media involved and spread this all over, you know, the world. You know what I mean? Because right now the internet is that vehicle, you know, to transport this information. So of course they're using this information. Using him and his death as a way to profit. Because again, because of him dying, you know, or being killed, his sales, you know, and all of these things have skyrocketed. But you know, for our situations when we die and we get killed, you know, there's really no you know, there's nothing pretty much, right? But for him, you know, he's actually being looked at as a god. And so this takes me into, you know, right now I'm going to go into this information. I've been rambling enough. I appreciate for the ones who still watching, because this information is very important. I'm trying to get this, you know, information out there as best as I can. So hopefully, you know, with people who are listening now and you know, really into what I'm saying, you know, that they would share this video as best as they can, you know, or just stick around with me, man, because I got some things that I need to bring forth to my people. And okay, so here we go. Let's go here. Okay, turn this here. Hopefully you guys can see it. This is The Wiz. Okay, so just went back on me again. Yeah, this is The Wiz with Michael Jackson. I know you guys are familiar with this. This is the clip when he's you know, pretty much the scarecrow. And he's on the cross, if you will. And you know, I don't know if anybody ever took you know, and I guess unraveled this whole thing, but this is a big mystery that I've noticed, you know, and the Father blessed me with, because right now we're coming into the season of reaping. And this is so important because again, this shows Michael Jackson. You know, he's a scarecrow, and you know, scarecrows are usually put, you know, in near a crop or a garden, pretty much to protect it. So in a sense, you know, they're there to keep, you know, any pestilence or any um you know, crows from coming in and taking their what they've reaped, you know. So mind you, he's a reaper, you know, because again, he as long as he can keep the crows away, he can take part in his garden that he's been protecting. You see what I'm saying? So again, Michael Jackson represents the Messiah. Okay, this is what he represents, being that he, like I said, he's on the cross. You know what I'm saying? So we're gonna look at this clip real quick, and I'll be right back. And also take notice that, you know, the Wiz is just one of the renditions of the Wizard of Oz, so it does have a lot of esoteric information. Oh, screen went off again. I'm gonna try my best to keep this screen on. Goodness gracious. But yeah, it's a lot of esoteric meaning to this. So hopefully you guys, you know, stick around again. And I want to apologize if this is a little bit all over the place, but I do have some real facts that I'm gonna bring across. I want you guys to see this. So again, he's on the cross, and he just so happened to be in the hood. You know, this looks like abandoned building to me. Let's go.
Succulent and divine. Delicious and nutritious. Brother Crow, this is good stuff here.
I'm glad you fellas enjoying your breakfast. Hey, fellas, is today the day you gonna help me get down from here?
Help you down? What is going down in that hayloft you call a head? Didn't we tell you yesterday and the day before that and the day before that you can't get down? This is your life, buddy, all hung up. Besides, Clyde.
Okay, I just wanted to mention some things, right? So, okay, you know, now you notice that the crows, you know, they are very annoying, and they're just pretty much teasing him because, you know, they realize that he's stuck up there. You know, after a while, crows are very intelligent. For the most part, you know, when they see it, they're gonna, you know, if they see a scarecrow, they're gonna probably observe it for a while and come back and realize that he's still stuck in that position and that he's bluffing. He can't come down. You know what I mean? So he's there, you know, and really he's just there to scare them. You know what I'm saying? He's really just there to scare them. But when they realize that he can't do anything, they start to, you know, antagonize him and say, you know, and show that they're not fearful of him because he can't do anything. You see what I'm saying? So let's go.
Crows are just thinking of you. There ain't nothing to get down for.
But I was just thinking, just once, fellas, for a little while, just to take a walk in my garden. Wouldn't that be terrific, fellas?
Walk? You can't walk. Why, you just a straw paper dummy.
You right, fellas. I was just being selfish.
As stupid as usual.
But I was reading this morning that most people...
Fellas, please. Look, didn't we tell you?
They always tell you, you know. I mean, it's funny because I think recently there was a situation where they was upset about the crows, and I don't know if it was a movie or if it was another rendition of The Wizard of Oz, but I think being at the fact that they sound like, you know, so-called black people, you know what I mean, Negroes, they were banning it because they felt like, okay, well, why does the Black Crows have to be black people? Which is really silly because, I mean, sometimes this is where, I I can't always agree with, my black people, mainly because, again, they use this whole, being black thing as a way of, somehow getting some sort of justice when, that's a part of their plan. That's the diabolical plan. If you're still thinking that you're a black man, today as well, if you obviously can't see the prophecy. You're not woke. You're not seeing what's going on. If you're still calling yourself a black man, you are doomed. Simple as that. But let me go more into this. I'm not gonna play the whole entire clip, but I just wanted to play a good portion of it.
It was a waste of time.
But Bacon here said,
Bacon, once over lightly, please.
knowledge is power. See, in Cicero, what he says, more men are noble by study than by nature. See, fellas? And over here, especially apropos of my situation, i.e. stuck up on this here pole, do not accept any situation, question, argue, and explore.
Now who you gonna believe? Listen, nobody on that old piece
Fellas,
of paper
please.
or your good friends, the Crows. Yeah, who have dedicated their lives to educating you. Yeah. Sounds to me, fellas, like old garbage guts here done forgot the Crow commandments again.
Fellas, I did not forget the Crow commandments, please.
Run them by me.
Thou shalt honor all crows.
Right on. Proceed.
Thou shalt stop reading all bits of paper.
Here it is. You see what I'm saying? You should honor all crows. So now that goes to say that, anyone who, so now if you think about it, the crows have made their own commandments. So they've made themselves the ones that are over him. You know what I mean? But when you really look at it, he's the one who's over them because he has the understanding and the knowledge. Only thing he doesn't have is the truth of himself. So that's what's missing. Is mainly because he doesn't know who he is, right? So you notice Dorothy, who's played by Diana Ross. She represents wisdom, because what she's gonna do is she's gonna help him and she's gonna encourage him to be exactly who he is supposed to be. You know what I mean? So she's gonna give him the knowledge and the wisdom, because that's who she represents. She represents wisdom. So she's gonna give him the wisdom and the knowledge of who he is, and that's his position, that he was a protector. Okay? Now, again, the crows are what people would consider the 2/3. You know what I mean? The ones who are do nothing but antagonize the righteous and don't believe in us and pretty much want us to serve them. Okay? Because they want us to fulfill their commandments. They don't have any understanding of righteousness. However, they make up their own form of righteousness and want us to be in submissiveness to them, which is no different from the women. When you look at a lot of the women today, they are pretty much brought into this whole notion of, them being superior over us men. Mainly why? Because of their education, because of their social status. Really no other reasons other than that, because again, women will hold men to moral standards, but when it comes to morality for themselves, they do not follow those standards. You see what I'm saying? So in other words, like a woman will tell you that, you're a dog because you're a cheater. And this is the reason why they don't trust any man. But at the same time, and I'm thinking, okay, well, if you were saying that a man is a cheater, and that is a moral standard, why you're basically saying that he's no good. I mean, because if it only meant anything to you, it really wouldn't matter to a man. But the only reason why it matters to a man as far as being a cheater is concerned is because we are trying to be pleasing to a woman, and a woman, we are told, is close to God. You know what I'm saying? We've been told that. So in some ways, we are serving the woman just as much as we are serving God. You see what I'm saying? No different. No different. So the so-called white woman, the so-called white man and the black woman is pretty much the same thing as far as who we hold up in regard as being superior over us. Because again, if a woman tells you that you're a cheater, it really shouldn't matter, because again, women are bisexuals, and they'll tell you that that's by nature. They didn't, or they'll say that it's because a man made them that way. But if that is a moral thing, if that's something, as far as their morality, if it's due to their morality or their lack of morality, then that would be sinful, right? So who are women to try to make men feel bad about cheating when they are being not only unfaithful to a man by choosing other men, but also by choosing a woman? You know what I mean? So women will sleep with another woman only to say that because there aren't any good men left in the world, which is a lie. You know what I mean? So, again, I'm bringing this point out mainly because, and again, this is a little bit more of a rant and some information but mixed up together. So take it as it comes. Again, I apologize. This is not something I'm used to. Hopefully I'll get better at it. But if you're still sticking around and listening, I got some more things. So, okay, Michael Jackson represents the Messiah, the Reaper, okay? The Reaper of souls, okay? This is what he's reaping. He's reaping wisdom, knowledge of self, and also souls, okay? Why do we know that this is true? It's because we are told also that during the harvest season, usually the reaper he comes and he gets the harvest. So let's Google reaper. Just Google the definition of reaper. See this? It says a person or machine that harvests crop. Okay? And then at the bottom it says short for Grim Reaper. Grim Reaper. Okay? Now I know you've heard of a Grim Reaper before, so it's really not that important to go and find out the definition, but if you can, if you will, you can do that on your own time. Let's see here. Grim Reaper. So like I was saying before, the Messiah is coming back as a Grim Reaper. Okay, so these are the things that they are not going to tell you, because why they are trying their best to hide this information from you. Why? Because they want you to believe that the Messiah is pleased with everything that's going on in the world, and that he's only coming back to just, I guess, sift through all the good, and bad people, and who's, good enough and who's not too, it's like almost like Santa Claus, you know what I mean? Which, is very, is not biblical, and is really, it makes no sense. But these are the things that, you know, the Father's been bringing to my attention, because, you know, it makes so much sense now that I understand it. You know, why you see Michael Jackson being a scarecrow and he's on a cross and he's told not to come down. Why? Because if he does, he's going to bring judgment to the crows that were pretty much, you know, antagonizing him and teasing him, right? Because this was about. It's really about the Messiah coming back and making, you know, the ones who were against him suffer. You know what I mean? This is why he's called the Son of Man, and that, you know, this age it belongs to him. You know what I mean? This is the reason why. Okay, so this is a movie that's coming out. Actually, it just came out, if I'm not mistaken, the 3rd of this month. It's called what is it called? I'm sorry, I totally forget. Okay, it's called El Chicano. Okay, the screen timed out again. Trying my best to keep the screen on. I'm not too sure how to do that. I'll try to figure it out. But anyhow, it's called it's called El Chicano. And it's about pretty much I guess he's a cop, and he finds he finds out someone or a cartel is pretty much trying to kill him and stop him from, you know, doing things. But anyway, he turns into pretty much a ghetto Grim Reaper, and you're gonna hear them tell him that, you know, that this is who he is. And if you notice, on the screen here, the time is 29, which is 11. 2 and 9 is 11. So, you know, again, that shows you, you know, that the Father is, you know, he speaks through these numbers, you know what I mean? And most of the time I catch on to them because, you know, they are very, very important. But I'm going to show you this clip real quick.
They're coming to plant a flag in LA and reset the game.
I was being straight with you. I'm not sure what to do next.
I tried doing what's good. Now I have to do what's right. It's the only way to protect my city.
This is all out war now. El Chicano, the ghetto Grim Reaper. You have any theories?
You see what I'm saying? So, you know, the ghetto Grim Reaper. These are the names that I've been, you know, coming into and realizing that, you know, the Messiah is coming back as. He's coming back as a ghetto Grim Reaper. More reason why, like I was showing you earlier in the clip with Michael Jackson and Wiz, that they're in the ghetto. Okay, they're in the hood. Why is that important? Because, okay, and I hate saying why is that important, because it sounds like, y'all know who I'm talking about. I forget his flipping name, man. But if y'all watch YouTube, y'all know exactly what I'm talking about. Him and SETI. But I haven't watched him in so long, man. But you know, I used to love watching Sarah Suit and SETI. I ain't gonna lie, that brother there is, you know, has been one of the inspirations to, you know, one of the reasons why I stood up or wanted to stand up for, you know, the information that I have, and just, you know, to prove some things, because you know, I like his fire, man. His fire is just, you know, is what I like, you know, to see, you know, when it comes to this whole, you know, information age, man. We have to stand on what we know. And he brings the fire, man. But, you know, when him and the same dude that I'm thinking, I can't get off my head, I can't think of who the hell is his name, what's his name. But anyway, when him and you know, that guy got together, I really was like, what the hell is going on, SETI? But anyway, man, that's a whole other subject. But So one of the things I was saying about this, and I'm over here pointing this to the screen. This whole time I could have been using my phone, because I don't have my computer like I would normally, but we're gonna do it this way for right now. Let me see, why is this not? Okay, so I was saying about the reaping, right? And the fact that why reaping is important. And what I've come across is that they they don't want to tell you this, because again, these are gonna help you understand that the Son of Man is actually a person living here on earth. The Son of Man is is on earth. It's funny because why I'm laughing, because when I first came into this information, as far as us being Israelites, and us breaking the law, statutes, and commandments and things like that, I was all for that information. Like it was always something that I definitely could rock with. But the whole thing that really kind of like always made me hold on one second, let me get something to drink. I'm just thirsty over here. Oh. So like I was saying, one of the things that I always tried to understand was, why is it that, if we had to wait on the Messiah to come, what are we supposed to be doing during this time? And I know, for a lot of the brothers who are out there, they'll say, oh, well, we're supposed to be, pretty much, working out our own salvation and things like that. And, my whole thing with the Messiah is because, I at one time, I had a problem with, of course, the Messiah looking like a white man. But then even when, when I start seeing a lot of these brothers post, pictures of the Messiah, as a black man, that became a problem. And it was because, he didn't look like, he didn't look like me. And that was one of the things that I really couldn't understand, because I always felt like, why am I feeling this way? Why am I feeling like, I have what it takes to be called, the Son of the Most High. And, and the thing was is that this had always been, this information has always been coming to me, but I really, really could not see myself coming forth and bringing this information out, and until now. And, it makes so much sense why, this information would come out now. And it's mainly because it's time. This is the time that we're living in. So, this is where I was, hope you can see that. Let's see. Let me see if I can get that here. Why is this? It's not. Okay, so it says reap, right? Let me see if I can just find it on Google, because this is not thinking. Let's see here. Okay. Oh gosh. Bear with me, please. Bear with me, please. Trying my best to get this information out here. And Google's okay, Why is this keep doing this? Like, I can't with this. I don't think I can do it with this. This is not. Okay, it's not giving me. Okay, but let me read this. Let me read this as best as I can, because I don't know why this is acting this way, but okay, so it says Quatsar 7:11, right? Quatsar. So Quatsar means reap, harvest, right? So 7:11. This is another number that I see quite often, and I know, like, some people who always would say, and even until now, they always say, I see the number 11 all the time. I walk somewhere and, lo and behold, it's on the floor. It's or either, if it's not 7-11, I mean 11-11, it's 9-11. And they want to understand these, and reason why they're seeing it. And one of the things that I, have also, been seeing is, that number in 7-11, 9-11, and, just 11 everything thing. I mean, if it's not 3-11, it's like, it's always something with 11 though. That's for one thing. So anyhow, I looked up Quatsar, right? And actually, I got this also from I don't know if you guys are familiar with Truthocracy. I listened to a lot of his information. At one time, I haven't really. Well, I think I looked him up, but I don't think he has a channel out right now. But Truthocracy is like on point when it comes to a lot of this stuff here. And one of the things that I've understood is that, he's obviously against a lot of the biblical information as far as what some people have made popular, and mainly the whole, Jesus Christ story. And, one of the reasons why, and even, like I was saying, I seen some of the camps, post pictures of the Messiah, and he's, some strapping, muscular looking dude with a full beard. And, I mean, it is enlightening to see something like that. But again, it's still, to me, giving them a false representation of who the Messiah will be. And because of that, this is the reason why we're at the place where we're at. And a lot of these brothers are not going to be able to give you the truth, because some of the people who are responsible for them won't tell them the truth. You know what I'm saying? It seems to me like it's just like, one of those never ending spirals. You know what I mean? And well, so again, man, I mean, I came up to this whole 7-11, right? Meaning harvest and to reap. Okay. So harvest, reap. Let's see here. It says Revelation 7:11. All the angels were standing around the throne, the elders, the 4 living creatures, and they fell on their faces before his throne and worshiped God. So, okay, the angels around the throne, to me, would represent the elect, right? So the elect are the ones that are around the throne, and the 4 living creatures. Now, the 4 living creatures, I've heard, different people mention things about the 4 living creatures. One of the things that stuck out to me is that they have 4 faces, and the 4 faces represent, a beast. I think 3 beasts and a man. So it's ox, right? The face of an ox, face of a eagle, in the face of a lion, right? In the face of a man. So again, when you look at the representations of those four living creatures, the man, represents the Son of Man, right? Because he is a human, he's a man. The eagle represents his his ability to see things from afar, right? And the lion, of course, represents his him being courageous, him being someone who's who has heart, right? And then also the ox represents him being someone who's very strong. And also, that an ox can't be moved. Usually, it takes, a lot of, someone to move an ox. An ox is usually, is somebody who, it's something that you really just can't just toss and turn any which way. You know what I'm saying? So his feet is planted. You know what I mean? He's an ox. He's a strong man. So, okay, now let's see what else here. Okay, 7-Eleven wins, right? That means you have a winning hand, Oops, here we go. Here we go. Let's see, okay, 7-Eleven. It is the winning, usually when you roll 7-Eleven on a dice table, that is a winning number. It wins all. So that's what the reaping is, you know what I mean? The reaping. And when you think of reaper, what else do you think? What else would come to mind? I mean, I would think, Jeepers Creepers. Let's see. Jeepers Creepers. Let's see. Oh, Jeepers Creepers. Jeepers Creepers. And guess what? He's on a cross. He's on a cross. Okay? You see the crows? And like I had told you before, Michael Jackson, he's on a cross. The Son of Man. He's wearing this hat. And anybody who ever seen Jeepers Creepers, you can't tell me that even though he's a demon and he looks scary as hell, right? Because a demon is nothing but a angel, that's pretty much a judgment angel. You know what I'm saying? So people hear demon and they get all freaked out. Don't worry, I was one of those people as well. But nowadays I understand demon to be just a angel of judgment. You know what I'm saying? Now, when you look at, the fact that he's on this cross, and, if anybody who familiar with this movie, he always, came at a specific time. And that was during the season of reaping. You know what I mean? One of the other things that stood out to me about this movie was the fact that he was immortal. He can, you can do, take his head off, and guess what? He wouldn't die. You see what I'm saying? So that's one of the things as well that stood out to me as far as this movie. You know what I mean? The Son of Man, he's going to be an immortal person. Somebody who can't die. You know what I'm saying? But the thing is that, one of the things that I realized about the Son of Man is that he's going to be a stumbling block for a lot of people. And that's one of the things as well that, going to make it very difficult for people to really trust him. And it's mainly because he looks just like them. You see what I'm saying? Like, people don't realize, but that's the hatred that we have for one another. We really can't stand to see one of us be the person who the Father has chosen, even though we know for sure that it would make nothing but sense for him to choose one out of amongst the people, the actual people, to be a person over them. Because see, the thing is that I don't care, and one of the reasons why I was bringing up before earlier about him being just as you can see here, this thing with focus, right? It says 92 light. 9 and 2 is 11, and then this 5.6, right? 5.6 not coming in that good, but that's 11 as well. So one of the things I've also realized is that, you know, why this whole waiting for Jesus to come, you know, and, you know, crack the sky or whatever they have been promising us all these years is not going to happen, is mainly because you have to understand the Father is about faith. He's about you showing your faith. So what faith would it be for you to trust somebody who's coming in the sky? And I guess you're going to just automatically know it's him. No matter, you know, it doesn't matter what, you know, he says, what, you know what I'm saying? It's just the fact that he's coming in the sky and he's, you know, and he looks like he's, I don't know what people are looking for, but I guess if he's going to be killing, you know, people are going to believe that it's him. Now, I mean, that has some truth to it too, but like, to me, what would make it more, you know, I guess you could say like meaningful was if, you know, and this is my whole, you know, this is the way I see it. You know, other people may not see it this way, but I see it, you know, if the Messiah would be coming, he would have to come as a man first. He would have to come as a man first. And also he would have to, you know, be able to convince his people that he's for them and that he's sent by the Father, because that's you know, it goes a lot into, you know, the storyline of the Messiah during the time when he was, you know, supposedly here. Most of the time, you know, when you look at that story, it's always showing that they did not believe him, and the only reason why they did believe him was because of his works, not because of what he said. You see what I'm saying? So again, I'm coming with evidence that proves that the Messiah, that I'm the Messiah, that the Father has chosen me to be the Son of Man. However, I'm quite sure, you know, people are not going to take, you know, this information and believe it. But, you know, and I'm not trying to prove through, you know, these, you know, little videos that I shown either. I'm only saying, you know, bringing this information out just to start a dialogue, and mainly to, you know, for anyone who has any questions, you know, that they would ask, and, and hopefully I can get back to them. And, well, I definitely will, but I mean, you know, depending on the question, I would say. Also, you know, one of the things that I was thinking while I was talking just now was that, you know, the Messiah is, to me, you know, he's definitely somebody who's like everyone, because that's what we need. You know, we looking for someone who's like us, someone who experienced this life and pretty much knows what's wrong with it. You know, because if you are somebody who, you know, if you're really looking for the Messiah to come, you know, and, you know, I guess, right, he was sitting on the right hand side of his Father. So he's coming from the right hand side to come. That sounds a little bit confusing to me. Somebody who's actually here, to me, would make more of a stand than someone who actually was away from the people. Somebody who was here, who went through all the, different psyops, went through all the different, and proved himself worthy. That's how you prove yourself worthy. The Messiah has to prove himself worthy just as well as anybody else. You see what I'm saying? So again, being that he went through the psyops, and he's seen, who's the truth, and he's a judge. So of course, at the end of this, he's going to be able to judge. Why? Because he experienced the things. So, to me, like, you waiting for somebody from heaven to do that. But here it is, a man who experienced the same things, and went through all the psyops. That would make him Neo. You see what I'm saying? The last one. I mean, if you notice, most of the movies are all geared towards the last stand, the last person, the last this. You know what I'm saying? So that shows you we were at the last, hour. The 11th hour, if you will. And right now we're, being told to, to get to pretty much find the Messiah. That's one of the things. He is like, a needle in a haystack. But at the end of the day, if you listen to the words that he's saying, it's gonna, appeal to you. Because again, he says what? My sheep know my voice. My sheep know my voice, and a stranger they will not go. So it makes sense. The Messiah is definitely somebody who experienced this life. You know what I'm saying? From 9/11, all these different psyops, and, he had to be born again. So in other words, he had to see these things and realize that they were lies. You see what I'm saying? So he can gain the world. You know what I mean? And again, how is he going to do that? He said, because if he's lifted up, he will draw all men. Why? Because he has the true understanding and the wisdom of what it takes to get out of this realm of existence. Something that Nipsey Hussle would never have told you. Nipsey Hussle wants you to stay in this realm. And everybody knows we're at the, we can't take any more of life living here. We don't want another Christmas. We don't want to go through another Halloween. We don't want to go through another Thanksgiving. We're done. And if you're not done, then that just goes to show you, the Father's not dealing with you. And that's the mindset of a lot of these women, majority that, again, we serve. We do our best as men to try to serve these women who want to remain here. They want to look back at this world. We are the ones that want to prove ourselves worthy. Again, because men, as a young kids, boys are always putting themselves through different tasks. We always want to prove our manhood at a young age. Scaling walls. Follow the leader. Those are games that boys make. Why? Because that proves our rites of passage. So again, this is our rites of passage. Seeing all of these things unfold, these mysteries, is showing our rites of passage of men. And what is our reaping? Our reaping is the world. And the women submissive, being made submissive. Okay, that is one of the things that we're going to reap. The women are going to be made submissive. Why? Because they're going to have to go through the hell that we went through, being men, being turned away, being told no, being refused, being cut off. You see what I'm saying? And pretty much used for whatever, purpose they would want it to be. I mean, come on. We done all the worst jobs and still are. You know what I mean? Right now, we still, can't leave our jobs because, we care about how much money we have or we need in order to survive. I mean, it makes too much sense for it not to be true. And again, one of the passages that come to mind is that it says that your king will be, you and your king will be taken, and brought to this place. You see what I'm saying? So when it says that, it shows you that the king was always there. You know what I'm saying? The king was, they didn't recognize who the king, when they took us from these other nations and brought us into America, some of us, because some of us was here already. One of the things that we have also coming into understanding that we were here as well. We weren't all scattered abroad and in different places of the world. No, a lot of us were here, in this part, Turtle Island. You know what I mean? I forget the other word. I'm sorry, the other name for the United States back in the day. But I know Turtle Island was one of the probably first. And this is during the time where, most of the continents were actually close together. And so it would make sense, the traveling, you know what I mean, would make sense as well. But when things were broken up, those different nations were broken and split apart, then we also were split apart. You see what I'm saying? So to me, slavery, the slavery that they, as far as us being transported, were mainly coming from slaves coming from out of this area. There were some slaves in Africa as well, because again, we were all over the world. And that's who the Father's gathering. You see what I'm saying? Now, I've been hearing lately also about the, tribes coming together. I'm with that whole notion as well. I mean, like, it's something that, of course, the Father is, in charge, and making, possible. But my thing is that, the only time that the people of the world are going to know that we are awake is when we have a king. Okay? You're not going to do it no other way. So get that out of your mind. You're not going to see the redemption of our people unless we have a king. That's the only time they're going to know that we're a nation. They're not going to know any other time. So we need to get out of this whole thing of we are waiting for the Messiah to come. No. See, that's the reason why they do not make a big deal out of, the camps being in the streets. Yeah, I mean, because they understand freedom of speech. But see, when you're going contrary to what they stand in and making a nation within a nation that you listening to, and you're listening to a king within that nation, and you're actually being submissive to him versus the state, then you will be a problem. Then you will be a problem. But as long as you still submit to a king other than the king that the Father put over you, you're not going to see the blessings that the Father has. And that's just the truth. Okay? Because, any nation knows, the only way you can be a threat is when you're a people that's independent from the nation that's over you. You know what I mean? And I mean, independent from their laws and the things that they stand for. That's when a revolution can happen. That's the only time a revolution can happen. Because the only thing they can do is get mad with us because we're doing our own thing. And that's when they're gonna, want to stand, and basically try to, because again, just as well as this whole Nipsey Hussle thing caught a fire, and pretty much everybody is on this whole Nipsey Hussle thing, it's the same way, the Most High want us to catch fire. You know what I mean? Because it spreads, quickly the more people get involved. So, of course, like I said, if the Father is, if you're standing with the Father and he's speaking to you, you're supposed to lift this man up. You're supposed to put him on the pedestal. That's how you show the people who you're for. Again, you know what I mean? Some people say, oh, they ain't going to worship no man. Well, you're going to find out you're going to have to. You're going to have to give reverence to a man. And that's the only way you're going to get out of this whole situation. And again, if you ain't willing to die for it, then that's another thing. You're not ready. And you're going to be left. Because the Father is not dealing with nobody who's not willing to die for him. So if you're not willing to die for him, then you're willing to stay here and allow America to do whatever they want to do. Or what they're trying to do. And that's pretty much take all the souls that they can. Because, all of these so-called celebrities. I mean, I seen Jay-Z, bring out some rap talking about Nipsey Hussle, and, buying back the block and all of this nonsense. I mean, I've always laughed about that because I'm thinking to myself, they'll say that, we need to get away from them. But everything we get is from them. Like they supply everything. So if we're going to try to stand, because see, this is the whole thing. They want you to revolutionize, but when all hell breaks loose, who are you going to have in your mind? Who are you going to be thinking about? Who are you going to be asking and praying to deliver you? Are you going to be looking to the government? Are you going to be looking to these rappers, Jay-Z, Nas, and all these guys who supposedly have all this money? That's who you're going to be looking to? Or you're going to be looking to the Son of the Father, who the Father's with? Because that's the one who's going to save you. And that's who the Father is putting his spirit on. Now, the thing is that, it ain't about you no more. When you sign up to stand for the Son of Man, the King, is not about you no more. You are a servant. So in other words, you are giving yourself over to him as a living sacrifice. You're giving your life over to him as a living sacrifice. You know what I mean? So holy and acceptable. So in other words, separated from this world and willing to be a servant of his. You see what I'm saying? So, I mean, you can take it as, somebody just trying to, put things in your mind or whatever, what have you. But for the people who the Father is dealing with, they understand this. This makes sense to them. But I'm not going to ramble anymore. I know I said enough. Hopefully this was informative to you. Again, share, like, let me know something. Let me know that you're out there. I do want to get some feedback, if any, just so I can hopefully, build up a conversation so we can speak on these things, because I feel I'm on to something. Again, I have a lot more information I want to get out. I didn't really, pressure to myself too much right now, but I'll be back on later and try to hopefully bring out a better presentation. This was just one of those things that I do every so often. Again, I'm not gonna say much more after this, but later.